today and speak to the new, and I am happy to say, improved Education Act. First and foremost, let me say that my Wild Rose colleagues and I have heard the message loud and clear from parents across this province, and that the education of their children is important to them, and that they, as parents, have the primary right to make the decisions regarding the education of their children. And so, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues and I have been fighting hard to ensure that parental rights are respected in this legislation. I am pleased to see that Bill 3 will re-establish the primacy of parental rights in decisions about education, and I am thankful we now seem to have an education minister who actually listens to Alberta's parents. I am also happy to find Bill 3 provides general support for the autonomy of both parents and our elected school boards. Mr. Speaker, first as a candidate and now as the MLA for Cypress Medicine Hat, I received countless communication from my constituents on the subject of education, and I'd like to take a few minutes to tell this House about some of that feedback and how it relates to Bill 3. I have heard time and time again how choice in our education system is important. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to either learning or teaching. All Albertans benefit from the freedom that parents in our province have to choose how their children will be educated, whether that be through public, Catholic, private, charter, or homeschooling. This also means ensuring families in rural areas have the same freedom and choice in education and have access to the same opportunity that Albertans have in other areas of the province. There are several measures in this legislation in regards to charter schools, and I certainly hope these measures are there to strengthen the choice in our education system, not to hinder the creation of these charter schools. There's also a measure in this legislation to provide school boards with natural person powers. I hope this will contribute to more flexible learning opportunities and support for our students. Another thing I have heard from many parents in my constituency is the importance of innovation in the education system. A lot of Cypress Medicine Hat people are looking with great interest at Finland, where students are ranked among the top performers internationally and where they place a huge emphasis on innovation within their education system. I believe Alberta has a great education system, but I also believe we can strive to be even better. If there are lessons to be learned from systems in other jurisdictions, and I have offered Finland as one example, I certainly hope the government will look at these lessons. Mr. Speaker, while this piece of legislation is much improved from the government's previous attempts to update the Education Act, it is not perfect. I am disappointed that the issue of school fees has not been addressed, especially considering this was a major campaign issue during the last campaign. In Cypress Medicine Hat, I talked to many young families that the mandatory school fees were a burden. It takes away professional time from our teachers and our administrators who have to collect these school fees. And I've heard of many unfair ways that the collection of these fees is applied, with some schools and some school boards doing more extreme measures than others. And I pose this question to my colleagues, especially on the government side. Is this really the best time of these highly trained professionals? Mr. Speaker, I sincerely hope that all members of this Assembly will work towards promoting a culture of education choice, innovation and competition, and that we will always keep the best interests of our children in mind as we continue to debate this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, honourable member.